All right, take two. um, so I hope we're live now. At least this way I can do a shorter and nicer intro. Okay, so hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to be watching some games between turnout8 and krazycaley. krazycaley is very well known for being man, I lost my whole flow here. For being one of the top players in Spy Party, he went from hero to villain when he won pretty much every challenge that was given to him in the original Spy on the Hill series, and he basically took the #1 spot after I think the second week, and then just stayed there forever. And the other player. Kaylee streams at twitch.tv/krazycaley. Kaylee is spelled with a K, or crazy is spelled with a K. Kaylee is spelled with a C. I don't know why crazy is spelled with a K. It's because he's crazy, I guess. He streams pretty much every night. turnout8 is his opponent in this set, and turnout8 doesn't stream often. He streams at twitch.tv/turnout8. But Turnout's just been in the game for a very long time. He's a fantastic player. His most recent accomplishment would be winning the Spy Party, the recent Spy on the Hill ladder placement tournament. He took the #1 spot in the tournament, and then he's been back and forth between the in the top 3, but he's been bouncing around in the top 3 of the ladder since it started. So, a few things we have to talk about before this set. People are calling this the beatdown set because turnout8 takes a commanding lead from the beginning and just holds that lead for the majority of the set. We're going to be going over, it was a set of 40 games, we're going to be going over the first 10 for sure. Those are all on Ballroom, and I think they're the most interesting, personally. And then if we have time, we'll go through a few of the games after that on Gallery. So what happens in this set, Turnout picks a very good lead, takes a very good lead against krazycaley and holds it. It's in the second half of the set that we won't get to that Kaylee actually starts to stage something of a comeback, eventually taking the win total by the end of it closer to 50%, but he still loses the overall set. And we're not going to get so far to see that, unfortunately, because that would take forever. I think they played for like 2.5 hours. So yeah, we're going to be looking at the games. We're going to be talking about decisions that are made in the games and between the games as well. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be checking the chat in between games to answer any questions that you have, so you can type them out. But in the meantime, let's jump into this. So you have turnout8 starting off as Spy as blue suit here, and we're going to be watching mostly from Kaylee's view this game as sniper. So yeah, Kaylee is a very, very vocal about being a very campy player as sniper, and he's always saying that he's not a very exciting person to watch. So taking, I don't agree with that. I think we can watch, perfectly fine from his view and make a lot of assessments about what his opponent is doing. But yeah, Turnout tries to go for the quick book transfer. Kaylee's going to highlight right here. Book is marked green. I don't know where he marked it green, maybe just as he was highlighting. So I'm not sure if he saw him pick it up, but the early transfer is something Turnout does like to do, so it's possible that Kaylee's suspicious of that. But in the meantime, Kaylee's going to be watching his hardtails. He's going to check the statue anytime somebody picks it up or puts it down. He's got an eye on the ambassador to make sure nobody bugs, and he's currently watching for drink takes to make sure the guest list isn't taken. Green swap incoming. Did not pick up that flirt. Oh, he picks it up after he picks up the statue. A wise choice, I think. unless your seduction target is just putting the statue down when you get there, you probably don't want to flirt first. You want to pick up the statue and flirt after you pick it up. So, pending swap. Kaylee's usually on top of these things, so if he sees an AI make a beeline for the statue, he'll be watching for it. He does pick up the statue beside it, which delays the next. It delays the AI calling, or the statue calling the AI. Basically, if you stay in the general vicinity of the pad, it won't pull an AI right away. So to some degree, you can control it. Mission when pending, he goes to the green bookshelf again. Kaylee's going to see the green swap. Does see the swap, and he's going to shoot a civilian. So, pretty good game, actually, from both players here. Early on, Kaylee's got... here, how did I do this before? Early on, Kaylee's got turnout highlight. Turnout starts by the blue bookshelf. He's going to pick up this book. Kaylee's... he's able to see him over there. He does take the book really, really fast, and maybe that's what Kaylee's suspicious of. Maybe that really poor bounce over there where he got stuck, or maybe the poor entry to the conversation. Those things can make him a bit more visible. But at any point when he visits the other bookshelf, he does receive a highlight. And when he does, he's the only suspect. He's the only suspect who's highlight, so Kaylee should really be watching him. Oh, there's White Danger back there who's highlight. I want to see why he was highlight as well. Because he's the one who's going to get shot. Okay, so... Rushes the statue. Kaylee always highlights for statue visits. So... yeah, not a lot to say about this one. Except maybe try to figure out what Kaylee was looking at when this happens. So he goes to pick up the statue. It's clearly visible that that's a green swap, and maybe Kaylee's more concerned about dots over there with her statue in the back, but he makes the wrong call on this one. Maybe he just doesn't remember that blue suit was there. I do think it was kind of a cool choice that Turnout does this. He drops this statue, goes to the pad next to it. Normally, if he were to leave, it would have just grabbed White Danger right then. But he delays it calling White Danger, and he actually goes to the green bookshelf, which is another cool choice because microfilm is done, so he's seen here doing something completely innocent. If he was against a more behavioral player, that could earn him a normal light or a low light. Going to the same bookshelf twice is kind of a waste of time. In any case, I don't think that really played out too much. Kaylee just shoots the wrong person. He was right to shoot, though. The missions were finished, which is pretty impressive considering that there was no BB that round. So he took BB out. Pretty cool choice as well. One thing I found... One thing I found when you're doing casting is if you don't want to get confused over which games you've watched, just you can hit Control and left click to highlight a bunch of replays, and then anytime you finish one, you just unclick it. So we just finished the first one, we just hit Control left click and remove that. Now we know that this is the next one we need to watch, and that'll make it really easy for you to remember which ones you've seen and which ones you haven't. Okay, so this will be kind of interesting. We're going to start off with an accidental low light. krazycaley as spy, as red dress, turnout8 as sniper. And I think right here he's going for a low light on double agent. This is actually really interesting. And just barely misses, slides over, and hits the spy. We'll see if he corrects that later. Oh, he does. Okay. So, didn't get away with much. Did get to add time while he was busy marking his marking cast members. Oh, Purloin is removed. Kaylee removed Purloin, so kind of funky movement by General there. turnout lowlights red tie. I think he was at the statue, so I'd like to see why he lowlit him. We're gonna go back and watch that. Marking his books. Marking more books. So yeah, he's marked, I think, 3 or 4 books already this round. He's on top of it right now. And I think when you want to prioritize what missions you're watching, say you are camping missions, ideally you want to prioritize the missions that you can't recover from if they finish. So if somebody finishes microfilm, or if they bug the ambassador, you don't know that they've finished microfilm or bugged the ambassador, you know? Whereas if somebody swaps or purloins, you know that the mission is finished. So I think in general, snipers would want to place a higher priority on watching missions like Ambassador and Microfilm, just because you can't just say, oh, I didn't see who was at that statue, but I know 3 people who weren't, and you can lowlight them. Once the bug happens, Sniper doesn't see it, Sniper has no idea it happens, which means it's so much more important to catch a bug as it happens than it is to catch swap as it happens. So we're definitely seeing that from Turnout this game, where he's marking a lot of books and usually has the ambassador in view, which is important. Taking Purloin out is also a pretty interesting tactic for krazycaley. On the one hand, that's 1 less hard tell you have to do, so you can finish in 3 soft tells and 1 hard tell. But on the other hand, Purloin is a very intensive mission to watch, and it lightens the load on Turnout here quite a bit. So he is going to take a green swap, going to get a green swap, and that's going to finish his missions. We've been ignoring the spy all game. Well, I mean, I have. turnout8 has not. He does have the spy highlight. And Caley does the exact same thing Turnout did. He goes and picks up the statue beside the one he swapped. And yeah, I would assume it's going to pick up. Oh, it's going to be Red Plaid is going to pick it up. Red Plaid is low lit, I think. Yeah, he's low lit, so that actually might mask the swap. And we'll see if it does or not. He goes to another statue. That's 3 statues in a row. That's not especially suspicious. And here a low light picks up the statue, and he won't shoot. He's going to actually win. Caley's going to pick up this game. So that was actually a pretty cool round by Caley. I do like the initial recovery here by Turnout, where he realizes, oh, I shouldn't have low lit this person. Normal lights, very important move in that game. Although he still did not win. And I want to see, it was Red Plaid. Red Plaid visits a statue early on. Is this before Turnout8 would have seen the statue? Let's take a look. So you can see it right now, but he's busy marking his guess. He hasn't. I don't think he's glanced at the statues yet. So here, he finally gets a chance to look at the statue. Says, "Oh, I can't see that one. That guy could have rushed a swap." Highlights him, but soon he's going to low light him, and I want to know why. So he puts the statue down. Oh, briefcase bail. I guess that's a fair low light if you don't suspect your opponent's going to do it. Once they do it, though, you pretty much get shut down. Scaley, pretty standard game there. Bugged. I totally missed it. Oh, he just bugs on his way to the ambassador. It's actually pretty visible. If Turnout had stayed at his previous position, right here, so we can do that by hitting Interactive Sniper. Much less visible from that angle. It's still, clearly visible, but when Turnout shifts over here, he really should catch that. Especially, like I said before, he should be watching the ambassador right here, but he misses it. Maybe he's busy watching Blue Dress for microfilm or something. Definitely doesn't see the bug, and that hurts. But nice job to Caley for doing 2 hard tells and finishing that up. this isn't such a beatdown to where we're going to just see poor plays by any one player. They're both going to play very well. So, yeah. All right, next game. krazycaley is the sniper. Turnout8 is yellow jacket. So let's see what happens. krazycaley is the sniper. So he's going to lowlight his cast. He's got his statues memorized at this point. Ambassador was perfectly safe. And Kaylee starts off by purloining the guest list. Nice rush there. But Kaylee does see him down that drink. Oh, I love it. He drinks right in the middle of the floor. In fact, I think he's standing in the conversation. Yeah, this is pretty cool. So he's doing that. Is he in the conversation? No, he's just outside of it. But you can see that he actually took control before the game started. So I think this was his plan. So game starts, and he pretty much immediately starts sipping. What you want to do, if you want to rush a purloin, the best way to do it right now is while your opponent is on the hit to hit spacebar. No, what is it? Do you accept the game? So your spy, you say I'm going to play the game, and then it goes to the sniper, says accept game, yes or no. When the sniper's on that menu as spy, if you hit spacebar, then you'll take control before the game starts. And then all you do is you just mash left click. And as soon as the game starts, you'll immediately sip and call Toby over. Or call Toby over. Or, if you start off on a statue pad or in a or at a bookshelf pad, you'll immediately grab that object. So, not sure if he's just mashing left click here or if he could have done that a little bit faster, but it doesn't matter. Because Kaylee does see this guy run away with a drink. He just come around here and notice that the purloin is gone, or the guest list is gone, and then sees that somebody's guzzling the drink someplace else. So, well played. Wow, some of these games are quite short. All right, so we've got krazycaley as spy, playing green dots, and turnout8 as the sniper. This game, Kaylee took off purloin again, so low light on the waiter. This time, turnout memorizes the statue early on. Cool low light on brown dress there. The spy probably would have gone for a bug in that position, and he was confident that she did not bug. I'd be surprised if he didn't highlight white jacket there for a possible bug on the entry, but I guess he's not going to. Again, we're seeing a lot of bookmarkings. He really wants to track that mission. He's got his eye on the ambassador. Highlights for visiting statue. And I think that... So he starts off with the microfilm, which is great. But now he's got half of that hard tell done. He has half of microfilm done, and he has his highlight. So he's not in a very good position now. And I don't know if Kaylee knows this about turnout, but Kaylee definitely does this, so he should be planning around this. If you know that you're up against an opponent who highlights for visiting statues, who highlights for inspects, then you're going to want to save that until after you do your hard tells, because it's so much harder to do your hard tells when you're glowing. So Kaylee, being a player who plays with this strategy, highlighting everybody who visits statues, would probably should probably visit the statues a little bit later, just by default, just by natural instinct. Although he does spend a lot of time in this conversation to maybe to lose some heat. Interrupts the animation slightly as he's leaving, but it's not seen. Again, once you're highlight, you don't want to take risks like that. You don't want to make mistakes like that. Here he's marking the book, and he sees the microfilm as he's marking it, waits for a clear shot, takes it. So I do think here the big mistake he makes is in visiting the statues too soon. So here he does the microfilm, and from Turnout's view, he's got plenty of cover. He can do it right now. Turnout goes around here to mark a book, and he does microfilm. So that's good. Throws that book away, and then he goes straight to the statue. And I really don't like that idea. I think... Oh, why did he stop there? That was kind of weird. Wonder what he was thinking. Oh, he wanted to enter this conversation. Misses the pad. Doesn't twitch in, he just leaves. Good choice. But then he goes to the statue, which I really don't like, as I said, because here he picks up his highlight, and then now, when he is when he's doing microfilm, it's very, very visible that his hand is going crazy all over that book. I wish we could normal light and see the difference, but here he is just, he glows in a sea of black, you know? You have, I'm getting messing with these controls. So you have Toby blocking, you have this guy who's practically a low light blocking, you have a bunch of low lights over here, and in this view that Turnout's looking, you have only one like character who's lit up. If he was normal lit, it would be a lot more difficult to see this. And it's more likely that Turnout would not immediately mark the book of a normal light, because it might take him just a little bit longer to see that character head to the bookshelf. So he'd, you know, you see one of your highlights there and you immediately put your focus on it. Whereas if you see a normal light there, you can ignore it for a second or two. So probably should have visited that statue later. We're actually getting through these really fast. We should have plenty of time to get through a few more games. So yeah. And how many? I know at some point. Well, we'll discuss that. Turnout8 is spy. He's general. Here's krazycaley. He's the sniper. Starts off by memorizing the statues. Now the ambassador was very, very vulnerable during that point, and Turnout tried to take advantage of that, but failed. Here he finally does get the. He does manage the bug. BB split. Not a bad BB split. Very visible exit, but he just wasn't picked up. I think Kaylee's probably a little bit distracted by Purloin this round. And that finally happens. Purloin goes off, the guest list is gone. Turnout adds 45 seconds to the clock that he just doesn't need. I don't really like that decision. When you're this far ahead, you only need 2 flirts to win. Adding time probably is not the smartest move. Kind of a poor entrance to the conversation, but Kaylee doesn't mind it. And he's grabbing a lot of low lights, so Kaylee's in recovery mode here, which is very good. He's got it down to 3 suspects, but unless he can shoot for a final seduction, a final flirt, Kaylee's just going to lose this game. And yeah, this one will be... Oh! Seduction target enters, and he wins easily. So, yeah, this one I think is actually a pretty interesting game. We're going to look at this one for a little while. So, let's look at it from Turnout's view. Game starts. He comes over here and just... he wants to bug. It's... Whoa, why did his arm not go out very long? Let me take a better look at this. Oh, he starts the bug way too early, so it ends right here. And he's just not in range. Like, this is where the bug wants to take. And he's just not in range, so he's a bit too early. I think the reason this happens is he tries to make a turn, but the inside of that conversation is sometimes too hard to walk through, and he just goofs it. But watching it from Kaylee's point of view, here I think Kaylee makes some strange decisions right at the start of the game, and this costs him the easy win. So right here, Ambassador is going to walk into this large crowd in the middle of the room. So the Ambassador is going to be in danger at the start of this game. And there are no characters by these statues, and as far as we can tell right now, there are no characters that are really going to the middle statues, except for, well, no, that's Damon. So near these statues, it's all cast. Nobody's going to hit those statues in a little while. And these statues are way safer. Nobody's going to touch these for the first 3 or 4 seconds. So, and it's hard. It's, we're using replays, so we're able to, like, hindsight is 20/20 kind of mode here. But Caley just really misses the important thing here. He zooms in right there. Ambassador is now in a crowd of people, very vulnerable, but he's looking at the statues. And too busy marking cast to notice right in front of him the general doing some really weird stuff. It actually wasn't that visible. You can barely see the hand, so even if you were looking for it, it would have been challenging. But Caley just was not looking for it. And there the actual bug goes off. It's a pretty nice bug. It is visible, but here Caley's too busy zooming in. And he's zooming in, to correct a low light. So that's, that's unfortunate. It is nice that he corrected his low light, but it did cost him. And let's see, why did he low light this character? Was it just a misclick? He low lights. No, that's too early. Let's go back. Also here, kind of a weird decision. You can low light the cast whenever you want. You can low light them mid-game, late game, at the start of the game, but low lighting them at the start of the game when there's a lot of movement is usually not a good choice unless they're right in front of your laser. And here, Caley's laser hovers and stays on double agent. He doesn't, low light on his way to something else, really. He actually meticulously low lights this character. And the Ambassador is still moving around. The Ambassador is still in a, dangerous spot. Like right there, the Emba almost got bugged, and he's still low lighting cast. If you can't low light the cast right away, just don't bother low lighting them. You can low light them after everybody stops moving, because it's so important to see, all these people moving early on. And again, here he's low lighting a cast member while the BB split goes off, and he misses that. That would have been a low light if he was watching for it. It's easy to just, bash on every single mistake a player makes with replays, and it's really entertaining to do that as well. Caley's not doing anything really poor this game, but just in the time that he is still doing his beginning routine, Turnout has already finished 2 missions, and that's how costly this routine is. So you really need to be able to you need to be able to manage your time, especially in the early game, really, really well. So 30 seconds have passed, Turnout's already finished with 2 missions. And here, he's in kind of a blind spot, which is kind of interesting. The spot that Caley chose put him behind the pillar and also behind another guest, which made the reject a bit tricky to see. Purloin happens here, the Emba takes it, and Caley checks and sees that it's gone. So he's going to low light. He is going to go into recovery mode, and he does get a lot of lowlights from this, so that's great. Probably should have low-lit Blondo over here because he has a book. Maybe he will do that now. Because with a book you can't purloin. Yeah, he does low-light him. He notices the book, low-lights. And now he's spending all of his time zoomed in, and without any real way to check to watch for flirts. He's going to lose this game, and he loses it very early on. I'd say after the purloin happens, he really doesn't have much of a chance to win besides catching the time ad. Where was the time ad? Did I miss where it was? I thought it happened right after the purloin. So purloin happens. Let's watch from his view, from Turnout's view. He purloins, he leaves, goes to the window. Oh, he wants to flirt. He doesn't want to purloin. He wants to flirt, but the action priority puts time ad first. And I think that's something that's changed. I seem to remember flirt being higher priority, which I think it should be. But yeah, he goofs that up, does hit the green, makes it less visible. That's pretty much, I'd say, besides... He's playing a very risky game. Doing all these hard tells very, very, very early on, especially against a player who everybody knows camps the hard tells like crazy. And because there's a pun in that name, like Krazycaley, but the only real mistake he makes here is that time ad, and it doesn't come back to hit him. Although he doesn't let it bother him. He just says, you know what? Hopefully Kaylee didn't notice the time ad. I'll live. And he actually plays idly from here on out. He's got 2 flirts done, and he has 3 minutes left. So he doesn't need to chase his seduction target. He can sit and do nothing all game, and his patience pays out when his seduction target comes to him, and he picks up the win. It's worth noting that again against a player who camps missions, turnout8 left out inspect a soft tell, and that's going to be very important. We're going to be talking about that as this set goes, about mission selection. So here, and we're going to start to see a really cool pattern that kind of happens here. krazycaley is the spy playing as, I call this guy Red Tie because he has a very red tie. I think he's the only player with a red tie, besides the ambassador over there who has he has a red and black tie. Blondo is a striped tie, but he's the only guy with a red tie. That's why he gets the red tie name. And he has removed Purloin. So that means Toby gets a low light. Now I hope he rushed a swap there. Yeah, he did rush a swap. I don't think Turnout had time to see the statues, so that's a good swap rush. Unfortunately, it is going to start him with a low light, or with a highlight rather, and that's going to be it's going to be rough to finish the rest of the game with that. He is going to go to a bookshelf. Turnout spending a lot of time marking this one book. He's trying to mark the book on the other side. He eventually gives up. And it doesn't matter because he puts the book away. Turnout. See, there's kind of a cool point, and this is something you see very different about the game between Kaylee and Turnout as sniper, where here Turnout has low lit most of the casts, but he's missed one. It's not important to low light the cast right away, where Kaylee prioritized getting all of the casts low lit very, very early on in the game and missed a lot of stuff. Here Turnout's at the 251 mark, and he finally low lights his last cast member at 251. Meanwhile, Kaylee has finished one mission and he is highlit for it. Contrast to that's the game before where Turnout was spy, and Kaylee did manage to memorize all the statues, and he low-lit all the cast within the first 30 seconds, but by then his opponent had already finished 2 missions and wasn't highlit yet for any of them. So goes next to the ambassador. He's highlit, and yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the bug here. There's the bug. Turnout waits for the ambassador to leave before taking the shot. But I think just a very, very different examples of how they prioritize the early game. So last time we watched how Kaylee did it, and now we're going to watch what Turnout does. He lowlights Toby. Toby is right in front of him, so it's not a very costly one. He's trying to see those statues. He can't really see them, so he is going to highlight the spy. So there's the swap. It goes off. Now he's zooming in a lot on the statues right here. So let's see if what he would have missed if that wasn't the spy. Okay, so right here, Amba's in an even worse spot than it was for Kaylee in the previous round. But Amba does get clear pretty quickly, and that's when he looks at the statues, I think. So he sees the statue, finally gets a look. I think he spends a little bit too much time looking at this statue, because over here, this character is completely out of Turnout's view, and he can bug the ambassador. So if that was the spy, that's a free bug. Let's see. There's got to be an easy way to do this. So Turnout stays zoomed in for a very long time. So this character, Buckswaggle, disappears from his view at 324. And Turnout zooms back out at... Oh, I'm in interactive. No wonder. Oh, it's so confusing. Must have hit a button. So Buckswaggle's right there in the corner. So at 323, Turnout spends a lot of time zoomed in, zoomed in, zoomed in. Finally zooms out. It's 318. So 5 seconds have passed, and now the ambassador is behind a pillar, and Buckswaggle is leaving the ambassador. So could have easily been a bug that he would have missed. And if any other character had approached from one of those directions, so if a character had come from this area on the window or the bookshelf, they could have just ran right by the Amba and would have been totally invisible to turnout. So definitely, it's not necessarily that he's making huge mistakes. And it's not that Kaylee is making huge mistakes. It's that the way they're prioritizing things are very differently, and in some cases that prioritization pays out. Like here, it paid out because he managed to highlight the spy for a possible statue swap, but he did miss potential bug rushes. So yeah, sometimes you have to weigh the ups and downs and hope that the spy is in the area that you're looking at a given time. I don't think it was very smart for him to spend so much time zoomed in, though. And I'm gonna look at that one more time, where you just spend so much time zoomed in. And what you should do, I'm going to take control here. What you should do is say, you know what, I can't see that statue. Highlight and look somewhere else. You've got this character, highlight. If you ever say there's one character in the entire cast who can win without who has already swapped the statue theoretically. This is the one person who's done one hardtail guaranteed. So just highlight him, zoom out, look somewhere else. Watch the ambassador. Like these two people are looking at their watches. That's the DA, of course, but this person's going to look at her watch. Look up at the clock. Look over here. Don't spend 5 seconds zoomed in, and don't zoom in twice. It's so pointless. You still can't see that statue very well. It's just not worth the effort, especially since the swap would have already happened in that situation. So, are we still live? My chat is being so quiet. Yes, we are still live. Good. So, next game. What was that? krazycaley was the spy. Yeah. Okay. So here, and I think from here on out, it is just going to be turnout winning, at least on ballroom. So here, turnout is the spy. He has removed contact. I know he likes to do that. And one of the very few spies who actually experiments quite a bit with mission selection. And I think that's pretty interesting. Actually, I think it's more interesting than not a lot of players do, because it seems very natural to try out different things. The majority of the game modes that we play, any 5 of 7 on Veranda, Panopticon. Veranda and Panopticon do any 5 of 7. Courtyard 1 and 2, any 4 of 6. Balcony, any 2 of 3. So, and now Gallery is most people I think are playing any 4 of 6. But at this point, I don't think people are still debating it even today. What's the best game mode on Gallery? So we're gonna leave that one out for now. But that means only 2 maps actually have a mission that you remove. Ballroom, any 4 of 6, you have to remove a mission, and Balcony, any 2 of 3, you have to remove a mission. On Balcony, Purloin is really is hardly viable. Bug is much better on Balcony than Purloin, so that's just a no-brainer. But I think on Ballroom, people they tend to be very complacent with mission selection, and they like to choose the safe missions. If I take out a hardtail, that's one less thing I can get shot doing, and that gives me a choice. I can do 3 soft tells, inspect, seduce, and BB, and then try to do that 1 hardtail. And that's pretty standard play, and it's a standard way of thinking. But you make a big sacrifice when you take out a hardtail. Your opponent has 1 less thing they need to look at. If you take out like Bug, they don't have to watch the Amball game, and that's a really expensive mission. And it's expensive because it's so viable to watch for it. Whereas taking out Seduce is less expensive to the sniper because it's so hard to watch for it. It's usually not very rewarding. Most snipers aren't going to be watching for it. Take out Purloin, and all of a sudden you give the sniper so much more time because they are going to watch for Purloin because it is viable to camp it, and it is rewarding to catch it. So here he takes out Contact, which is usually a very safe mission, but that's going to leave Kaylee stuck staring at 4 hardtails or a few hardtails all game. Bug Ambassador, Transfer Microfilm, purloin, and swap. He has to keep his eye on at least 3 of these, but he'll probably want to watch all 4 of them just in case he misses one of them. So orange dress is the spy, memorizing the statues. I don't know if you got to see the back wall before Snaps hit it, but we know that Caley highlights for statue visits anyway. I think he left that conversation a bit early. I don't know if he was there the full duration, but leaves that conversation very quickly too. Caley doing the super zoom on that guest list. Gets away with some funky pathing and goes to the window. That's twice he's been visiting his seduction target. Caley does check and make sure that Snaps did not get a green swap. If Snaps did swap, it would have been a really poor choice to get green. Finishes seduction. And he's gotten bug. We'll have to go back and look at that. I missed that. So Turnout's moving very quickly this set, skipping a lot of his exit animations just so he can move really fast. Picks up his inspect highlight, and here he's going to get 2 to 3 inspects, depending on if he stays until General leaves. Caley's still watching that guest list. He's actually staying super zoomed in to see it. I really don't like that. You know, all of that time, everything else was vulnerable, and he does miss the swap. He just stays there and he blocks it. And by the time he sees it, it's too late to shoot, if he even sees it, which I think he does. I think he does catch it. 3 people had visited that statue, and General was right beside it, so that was it would have been difficult to tell who had swapped anyway without seeing the animation. But where did he... Here he zooms in to make sure it's not a green swap. Well, that's great. And then here, one of his highlights takes a drink, so it's understandable to look at the guest list. I don't think it's understandable to stare at it this long. And the reason why I say that is because, let's say you know your highlight's taking a drink, you want to glance at it and see if it was a green purloin or a white purloin. So it makes sense to look at it really fast. But by now, that animation is finished. So even if you see it missing or not at this point, that won't give you a greater advantage than seeing it 2 or 3 seconds down the road. So staring at it like this is just so rough. And I want to look at everything that happens during that time. So we know that while Toby's making his little trip over here, here's what's happening. Yellow jacket over here. He's got a blue book. Is walking by the ambassador, easily could bug and go to the green shelf, and Caley won't even notice because he's still zoomed in. Now he finally unzooms, like right here, and when he sees the guest list there. So that's the ambassador was totally exposed right there. And over here, he's looking around. And he doesn't notice the swap in time to take a shot. Turnout does body block it long enough. That's not really something that you can fault Caley for. He did have a lot of stuff to be looking at. I don't think it would have been natural to assume that he was in danger of losing so early. He probably thought he had enough time for this character to leave the statue, notice that it was changed, and then shoot. But he didn't know he was on his countdown yet. And it was a very quick game by Turnout. Leaving out contact also made it difficult to gauge how far Turnout had gone. And here you see that it is totally viable against a player who stares at hard tells the entire game. It's totally viable to do 2 hard tells against them and take out a soft tell. And it actually, I think, throws off their game a bit. If he had heard BB at some point in there, he might have really wanted to see that statue towards the end. He might have said, hey, this is important. I better, come over here. Oh, it's just swapped and shoot, or something. You can't say for sure that these are the things that would have happened or wouldn't have happened, but yeah, that's what it does end up happening is Turnout8 takes that win. Don't have many viewers, which is fine. People can always watch this stuff later, but Magician and Toboshi, Wodar, if you guys have any questions or any comments, feel free to type them in the chat and ask. Maybe my chat is just broken. I don't know. But a really good game from Turnout on that. And we're going to be saying that a lot. It's not that Caley doesn't play well or makes completely terrible decisions. Part of it is that Turnout really gets a good rhythm, and he keeps at that rhythm. He's going to keep at that pace. He's always going to be playing fast. He's going to be playing with a lot of risks. And what does need to happen if Caley wants to make a comeback in this set, or even just a comeback on this map, is Caley is going to need to change something about how he plays as spy and as sniper. I would say mostly as sniper. Losing to games like that is really rough. Anyway, so let's take a look at these games. Last game Caley played, he got shot for doing microfilm, I believe, or no, he got shot for bugging. But from here on out, I believe he takes microfilm off, and I really don't like this decision. It's the main reason I wanted to cast this game was to talk about this decision, and we'll get more into it later. Oh, thank you, Tobo, for clarifying that chat is not broken. It's okay for you guys to be quiet. I just don't want people to be talking and not, getting any answers. The main reason I wanted to cast this set was because Caley makes a really interesting decision, and he actually says something very interesting on his stream, where he decides to take out microfilm because he decides that Turnout is too good at watching it. And it's true, Turnout's marking a lot of books. He's got a good camp going on microfilm. It's going to be really hard to transfer microfilm against Turnout unless you get a little bit creative or exploit some of Turnout's weaknesses. And Caley doesn't do that. He just says, you know what, I'm not going to do microfilm. I can't do that against him, and I'm going to take it out from now on. And I believe that he decided that after his last microfilm loss. And Caley says, given the choice between taking out soft tells and hard tells, he will almost never or never take out a soft tell, because it means that you have to do 2 hard tells. It's too difficult. But I really don't like how that plays out for him, and we're going to talk about that later. But what I want to say here is that removing microfilm is a really bad choice against Turnout. And the reason I say this is because we've noticed in his previous sniper games that he spent so much time marking books. Like, so much time, he zooms in. Every time somebody picks up a book, he zooms in, he clicks it. Oh, there's actually no animation for zooming. Why? I thought there was an animation for that. Oh, maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. Yeah, there is an animation. So why in the replay? Oh, it's back. That is weird. Okay. But yeah, you see somebody go to the bookshelf. He zooms in, clicks the book. See somebody go to this bookshelf, zooms in, clicks the book, right? And anytime he does that, something else is exposed. You could be, if he's zooming in on a book over here, I got that glitch again. That is so weird. He zooms in on a book over here. Well, you could be over here adding time. If you see an AI walk over to this bookshelf, you can go over here and add time, or you can go over here and bug the ambassador, or whatever is happening. You can go to a statue and you can try to get a green swap and leave. Probably not the best choice. If somebody goes to this bookshelf and he goes to and he zooms in to mark the book, go over to this bookshelf and grab a book and get the hell out of there. These are your choices. And by removing microfilm entirely, what you've ensured, the one thing you've guaranteed, is that Turnout is, I think I figured out this bug, by the way. Turnout is not going to be looking at books. He just won't care. He's going to spend more time looking at the Purloin. He's going to spend more time looking at the Ambassador. He's going to spend more time watching people or checking the clock for time ads. And so removing that mission is a really expensive choice. You have to look at how these missions play out around each other, and you have to look at this game from a larger point of view rather than just saying, this one thing is really difficult. You have to say, how does having that mission in, despite it being difficult, affect my ability to perform other missions? If my opponent is spending so much time making sure I can't do this mission, that means I should leave the mission in, because they're going to continue spending a lot of time on it. And that's going to make everything else a little bit better, a little bit more viable, and maybe even viable enough that you can start to do 2 hard tells in a game. So that was one of the big things I wanted to talk about today, and I wanted to talk about about the cost of this decision that Caley makes, because I think right here is when he decides, rather than take big risks and take big chances on an effort to come back, he says let's just keep playing safe and let's keep doing what I know. And it's not that what he's doing is so bad or anything, but it's clearly not working right now, and he's not. I don't think he's making the right decision here. If you want to make a comeback, you got to start playing differently. Turnout's not the one who needs to change his game plan. It's Krazy if he wants to win this. And again, this is a casual set, so there's not this attitude that he has to win. But even in a casual set, you want to make a good show for your audience, and you don't want to lose every game. You want to have a lot of fun, and you want to have a good attitude, but you don't want to lose every game while you do it. So there is a level of competition in here, even this being a casual set. I'm talking a lot right now, so let's watch this game. And this is Turnout is the sniper. So Spy starts off at the bookshelf. Turnout's going to ignore 2 books right off the bat. Those are 2 instances where he might have zoomed in, but instead he's camping the ambassador. He's camping the statues. He's going to make sure Purloin doesn't happen. And he's going to have a good lock on things because, as I said before, microfilm is such a costly mission for Turnout. And that's going to make things so much easier. He's going to be perfectly content to have this mission taken out, and he's going to be perfectly happy not to have to look at it all game. It's possible that he actually forgot this game because he's been marking books. So you can't...
And the end of red.
Oh, the cough. That's going to end the game. Does try to recover it into a watch check, an innocent little watch check. And, normally I'd see something like that and say, Krazy's just kind of shaken. But no, I watched the stream and he kept a level head as he played. I don't think it affected his action tests or anything to the point where he'd be getting a lot of red tests as a result of, increased nerves or anything. I love the decision to just go to the window. It's either saying, I want to look as innocent as possible, or just saying, just shoot me and get it over with. But Krazy does play cool, despite him being really set back in this set. I don't think cool play is what he needs right now. I think what he needs right now is some heavy, very, very risky play. Try to do a lot of hard tells. Don't do the soft tells. Try to do the hard tells. And I know that's really weird advice, but what Turnout is going to expect is for Krazy to slow down. And he's just going to keep playing aggressively while Krazy plays slow. This game's not a good example of any of that, though, because it just ends instantly. But that is going to be, the first game in a series of games where we're going to see no microfilm action from Krazy, and we're going to see Turnout not spending so much time and resource on that. And to me, that's the most interesting decision made in this set. So blue suit here is going to be Turnout. He's going to start off here right next to the ambassador. Maybe he'll rush a bug. We'll see. Starts off same game as before. He's going to start off with that Purloin action. He took control before the game started. I think he just mashes left click. We can actually see it on the time log. No, he did not mash left click. He actually waited for the game to start, and then he clicks left click. If you want to do this, that's fine. But if you want to do this, just mash the hell out of left click. And once the game starts, it'll say 3:30, Spy player took control, 3:30, game started, 3:30, request drink from waiter. And Toby will get there 1.8 seconds faster. And that's a much faster Purloin rush. Now 1.8 seconds doesn't seem like a lot, but it really is when you're rushing. Every single second is a lot when you're rushing. So he goes to the statue. Probably going to get his highlight here. Krazy misses the animation for the green Purloin, I believe. So he's going to catch the Purloin. It's missing. And he's going to get some lowlights. He's going to highlight orange dress. Highlights red dress. Highlights the spy who was at the statues. Highlights people who are far away. Lowlights the spy. So Krazy is taking a very big risk on this recovery. I think he's very certain of himself here, that he's narrowed it down to the right group of people. Not sure why red dress is in that group, but for whatever reason, he is marking books on lowlights. So I think he's not entirely certain that the spy is among his highlights. In this game, Turnout did remove swap. So Kaylee, unlike Turnout, Kaylee obviously read the mission selection this game because he did not bother to look at statues at the start, as far as I can remember. It's hard to actually see him. There he enters the conversation. He's going to BB here. Only needs one seduce, or not seduce. He needs one more seduce or inspect to win. He actually left his options very, very open. He is going to pick up a second green seduce and win. Or not win through missions. He is going to win through a civilian shot. So I think I could figure out why that civilian was shot. But I want to see where Kaylee was looking at the start of the game. Game starts. Kaylee is making sure the ambassador is not compromised. And really, this isn't his fault. He picks a really bad spot. Right there is where he stops and he watches the ambassador. That's fair. That's fine. I mean, all of these people could be rushing. I guess she is a DA, so she's not rushing anything. But all of these people could be trying to rush the bug, and it's very important not to miss the bug. But he just picks a spot where the spy is pretty well hidden by this pillar, and that's just, you know, bad luck. I mean, any place that he picked, any position he picked to watch that could have potentially blocked an entire suspect. So you look from here, and this is pretty. What was the view he had? Let's go back to where he was. So you watch from here, and blue suit's really hard to see. You can see his arm there. You can see Toby, but Toby's, you know, not a guest. He's you're not watching Toby right now. You're watching these three people. So you stand here, you can't see the amba. You come over here, you can see the amba, but Toby's going to make this a little bit harder to see. You stand here, and you're not going to see it. So any position you pick, and a pillar or Toby will be in the way of you seeing a guest standing in a bad spot. Just picked a bad spot to stand, or to view that. Not his fault again. So here he made sure that no bugs happened. So he did a good job on that. He didn't memorize statues. He's marking books. He's playing this right. He hasn't low-lit all of his cast yet, so he's managing his time a lot better in the early game here. But by the time he sees this purloin, it's way too late to catch the purloin. And here he goes into, you know, like a ballistic low-lighting spree where he just wants to salvage the game. And he low-lights everybody. He low-lights the spy, and that's going to cost him the game. Let's see, where does the BB happen? The BB happens right here. No. BB happens here. He only has two suspects right now. They're both in conversation, neither with the DA. You should have noticed that. I mean, it's not like the DA, you know, entered or left this conversation or was anywhere in the vicinity. So he probably could have said, you know, if it was orange dress or if it was red dress, it was a fake BB. And I think that's something he should have really looked at. He should have at least suspected it was fake. And let's see, there's no reason to shoot red dress here. You think she's done purloin, fair enough. Purloin is done. You've heard BB. She hasn't visited a statue yet. And she's been in one conversation pretty much the whole game. I can't see him really thinking that she was finished if he had thought this one out. So maybe this set is kind of getting to him a little bit because it should have been very clear when the BB happens. So Banana bread. She's not with the DA. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Let's go back to the banana bread. DA wasn't even with her even before that. The DA is over at the statues. So banana bread happens. Banana bread. DA is not in this conversation. No DA in orange dresses conversation. So you say, my top two suspects, maybe they just faked a banana bread. Or you say, well, you know, there are two people over here with the DA, and you normal light, and you say, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong about these highlights. Definitely should know that red dress she's been highlight since the beginning of the game, and she hasn't moved all the game. You can see her standing there all game. Even if you haven't been watching her the majority of the time, you highlight her here, and from then on, you know she's not moving. So she might finish seduction if she has a good seduction target. You know she hasn't done banana bread. She might have done the purloin. You missed that entirely. But you know she's not done. She goes to the statues. She's not finished. And I do think the shot was a bit preemptive, at least on his two suspects that he had. The shot would have been preemptive. If he thought the game was over, he should have looked over here and said, it's one of my, the two people I have low lit over here, if he thought it was a real BB. So, kind of an odd game. So here, Revolta. Revolta is going to be, krazycaley is going to be Revolta. And we'll see if he has the dance moves to pull this one off. That was terrible. Takes control after he hits the bookshelf, that's fine. He does have microfilm removed again. Like I said, that's just going to be a trend for him. Turnouts, checking out those statues. Could he have bugged there? I'm not really sure. He enters next to a seduction target, gets a good flirt in. So this is a good start from Caley. Turnouts starting off with a lot of wrong highlights. I mean, that's not that he's doing a bad job there, but Caley is not a suspect here, which is good. God, I'm being really John Madden right now. What I'm trying to say is he's allowing Caley to build up a lot of suspects, and he's laying low. So he's playing this one right. I think he just Twitch flirted. I don't think Twitch flirt is not as common on Ballroom as it is on Courtyard or Veranda or Panopticon. I think it's, as a strategy, it's underutilized on this map compared to the other maps. Caley's got that book. He knows microfilm's taken out, but he's actually in a really good position to transfer. I don't think he would be if the mission was on, because Turnout would be watching those books a lot closer. Ooh, kind of a weird 180. Brings the book back where it belongs. Turnout's just watching his hardtails. The Amba's in a safe spot right now. Nobody, walked past the Amba while he was at statues. Now somebody walks past the Amba, and it's the spy, and he does pick up that bug. So it's a really nice bug. And now is a good time for him to go to the statues. He's gotten bug out of the way. And so unlike the game before where he went to the statues too early and still had, a hardtail left to do afterwards, here he's got his hardtail done. He can grab his inspects and he can just ride this game out on soft tells. And he's in a good position. Enough people have visited statues and done suspicious things that they've been highlight. He's 1 of 5 now if he gets this highlight. He swaps. Maybe not the best decision here. Indeed not, because Turnout shoots for it. I wonder if that was a misclick. Now, I did say he should be taking more risks, and I mean that certainly was a risk. But calculated risks. You don't want to do go balls to the walls when you pretty much have the game in your pocket. I mean, you've got 1 minute and 18 seconds left. This is the view I want. You got 18 seconds left. Your double agent is in a conversation. You only need 1 flirt from close range, and you've only just now been highlight. Of course, maybe he doesn't know that, but he's in really good shape here. And he kind of throws this game away with the swap. So I think that's, that was kind of a poor decision on his part. I think otherwise this is a really good game for Caley. He starts off where he doesn't want to be, but he rides it out. He says, you know what, if I'm going to start off with a book, I'm just going to live with that book. Takes over here, messes around for a while, gets a bunch of Twitch flirts in, bop, 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 Twitch flirt, gets a bunch of Twitch flirts. Where is it that he bugs? Because it was a really nice bug. So, okay. This whole part of the game I thought was kind of cool. So Ambassador's here, in the middle of the map, nobody anywhere nearby. So Turnout, if he's dividing his time between watching the 3 hardtails, he's watching Purloin, He's watching statues, he's watching for swap, and he's watching Amba. These are the three things that he needs to care about if he wants to camp missions. So Amba's safe. Amba's going to the back statues. Statues are safe. Statues are safe anytime there's nobody at them. So the only mission to worry about right now is Purloin. He's zooming in a lot. I don't like that. I think, like I said, Amba's in a safe spot right now because there are no guests over here. There are no guests over on this back wall to bug the ambassador. But if you zoom in for 3 seconds, that gives the spy just enough time to make the march from one of the farther positions over there. If they know what you're doing and you're zooming in a lot, you're exposing the ambassador a lot. So what he should be doing here, don't zoom in this entire time. Zoom in during the half second that he's actually touching the tray and then zoom out. But not a big deal. And here, why does he march all the way around here? That's the odd decision that he makes here. He comes around here for no reason. What is he getting an angle on? He doesn't need an angle on this book. He doesn't need to highlight the book. He should just stick right here. Nobody's accepting a drink, and he knows the guest list is there. Toby is not in danger. Statues are not in danger. The only thing he should be watching for is the ambassador right here. And he's going to miss the bug, which would have been more visible from... It's actually... I keep hitting that. It is a really nice bug. But it's a visible bug. You can see that arm is not swinging. That back arm is not swinging. And that's totally visible. If you're just sitting at this angle, you can see that. If you take a different angle like this, you might be able to see the arm a little bit better. It just seems to kind of vanish. And maybe that's what he wanted to do. Maybe he wanted to get an angle all the way over here where he would have been totally visible, but I'm not sure. I think the shift in angle was a really bad choice here because it just... You can't... I want to get that angle perfectly. Right here, you can't see anything from this angle. This is a terrible spot to zip over to and just sit. There's nothing to gain from standing here. You can't see much of what's happening at this bookshelf. You can't see anything at that bookshelf. You can't see the back wall at the statues. You can't see anything. There's no gain from that position. So to slide over to that position was a really poor choice. Nonetheless, he does take the game. But all in all, I thought that game was actually better played on Kaylee's part than Turnout's. And that's going to bring us to the end of Ballroom. So to recap Ballroom, I think Ballroom ended on a 2-10 wins. Let's see, we can actually... is it possible? No, I don't know. I was going to see if we could sort it in a way that would make it easier to count. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Kaylee won... of the first 3 games, he won 2 of them. And then from then on, Turnout won all of them. And I think what's interesting here is, and we're going to look back and we're going to put into context some things that we know about these players. Turnout's been in the game since forever, and since before, I think since before Courtyard 2, maybe Courtyard 1. He's been in the game since before Panopticon. Turnout was in the game when Veranda was broken and nobody played it because of the 0 TKA plant glitch. He's been in the game, before Gallery and before Purloin. So turnout8 is very accustomed to playing on Ballroom because since he's been in the beta, or when he started the beta, there weren't many maps available, and everybody was playing on Ballroom back then. So any 4 of 6 is Turnout's, playground. He knows that map really well. And I know when Kaylee was putting together the Spy on the Hill ladder series, which is going on right now, he was trying to push for any 5 of 7 Ballroom, which I think is really interesting. It tells us a lot about these players' mindsets, in that Kaylee is probably a little bit less comfortable with removing missions than Turnout, and I don't think he's as experienced on Ballroom as Turnout is. And I think those two things combined gives Turnout a huge advantage on Ballroom. He just knows how the map's played. He knows how to metagame the map, which is what's really important in this set. I think that Kaylee is not so accustomed to metagaming the map. And so removing microfilm, he's making a really poor metagame choice. He's saying, I don't want to do this mission, but he's not taking into account the fact that his opponent will still be watching that mission. And if we just go back and really quickly, that's the wrong thing to go back to. If we go back and really quickly look at a game where microfilm is on, we can see Turnout spends a lot of time here marking books, just constantly. Marked book, marked book, marked book. He's just marking all these books. He's going to see somebody at the window, he's going to mark the books. And these things are all costly. It's not the 1 second that... Let me zoom by here a little so I can give you a demonstration of this. When you're playing the game, here, let me go into full screen. You're playing, and it's not just mark book and look away. No, it's actually more costly than that. You have to, you're looking over here, and then you say, oh, this character is at the bookshelf. Now, right now, my eyes are right here where the cursor is, but then I see the character at the bookshelf, and my eyes look over here, and then my laser follows. So it's actually more costly than you'd think. You're spending a half a second here, looking over here, before you take the half second to move your laser over there. And you might even zoom in. Marking a book costs you about a second every time you mark. And, every single second that he's marking a book is a time when you can be doing something else. Like there's another book he marks. He doesn't mark any more books. But then anytime somebody puts a book away, you want to take advantage of your bookmarks. You want to say, oh, some character brought the book back. You glance over there with your eye. You don't have to trace your laser over to it, but for a half second, you're not looking at the ambassador. For a half second, you're not looking at the person checking their watch. And with the way that Turnout is really camping books in this set, I think that was a really poor decision. What does that put you at? That eventually makes you're basically playing any 4 or 5 because you leave a mission in that you're not going to do, and you're essentially playing any 4 or 5 as spy, but your opponent doesn't know that. Your opponent assumes you might still do that mission. Anyway, so that was the one thing I really wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about how mission selection can really dictate how a game plays out, how your opponent is going to approach the game. And we'll go into a few more gallery games because I think this has been kind of fun but short, and I don't know if it's been entertaining. But we're going to watch a few more on gallery. And starting with Turnout as spy, he is green dress, and there we go. It's going to start off at the red bookshelf. He hasn't taken control yet, no. He takes control right here. He's got the book. Is he gonna just walk it over? No, he doesn't. Kaley playing zoomed in. Ooh, early banana bread. Kind of a funny decision there by Kaley to stay zoomed in. Whoa, he's gonna shoot. He was actually gonna shoot the spy. Okay, so he did notice that he dropped the book off. Did he BB split? No, yeah, he kind of did split. And nice job by Kaley there. So remembering where that book came from. I don't like that he's spending all this time zoomed in. I mean, I know in this map people are more likely to zoom than any other map, but I do think that he could get these low lights zoomed out. So banana bread happens. You're zoomed in. Banana bread, you zoom out, and you can low light a lot faster this way, rather than doing it all zoomed in. I think if you hear banana bread, you typically would want to zoom out and grab these low lights. Because you don't know where you're looking. You're not like, oh, there's somebody at the front window that I need a low light, because you can't see him. Here you can see him. You can say, I need to low light that guy. But instead you're just kind of wandering your laser around and hoping that there's somebody in the zone you're going to look while you're doing these low lights. So kind of weird, but not really problematic. The problematic thing, of course, being that he wants to shoot the spy and he doesn't. 4 missions, it's been 20 seconds. You have plenty of time to wait for the spy to go someplace else. You don't have to shoot a spy who's still moving with a large crowd around them. So that was probably not a good choice, but all in all, really, I'm really impressed that Kaley knew where that book came from, because she's not in his view. It's really hard to see. Yeah, that's just it's a really impressive. It's really impressive that he caught the spy. Not so impressive that he missed while shooting. Yeah, you want to wait a bit to shoot, as Cleto says. If you think the spy is finished, their missions, and you have to be quicker. You can count to 10 after the last mission finished. Like, you see them walk away from a swap, you say, okay, I know I'm going to shoot them, and you count to 10. 1, 2, 3. When you get to like 8 or so, you shoot. But you don't need to take a really hasty shot if it's 20 seconds into the game. Okay, so that should have been Kaylee's win, but he goofed up the shot. Pretty entertaining, but disappointing, I guess, because that would have been his first win in 9 games. It would have been nice to get that win for him. Kaylee is the spy, he is red dress, and Turnout is the sniper. Purloin is turned off. Hopefully this will be a slightly longer game. And just wasting time at the start of the game. He does go to the statue. I think he picked it up really fast. I don't think that's why he was highlight. I believe he was just highlight because Kaylee highlights statue visits. Which of course means that even for Turnout, he knows that about Kaylee. So it's not a good decision to hit up the statue so early. I think it would have been better for... Kaylee should know that about Turnout by now, that he highlights for statues. So I don't think it was a good decision for Kaylee to go to a statue so soon. This is what I'm trying to say. Doing the Turnout thing here where I just can't remember who's who. Kaylee playing really, really idly until he decides to leave in the middle of an idle animation to grab a book. Oh, Turnout being really aggressive with his lowlights. Did he imagine a swap or something? Oh, a swap did happen. I'm crazy. Apparently Kaylee swapped that statue. So, whoa, and a terrible split. Okay, I want to go back. I missed the swap. It must have been green, right? No, it was white. Alright, so he goes to the statue. He does pick it up kind of fast. He's going to swap it here. Okay, so he does swap it. He leaves. And then Turnout notices it a bit late. It's really hard to catch swaps on this map, in my opinion. Here, I believe he's, looking at the Ambassador the majority of that time. The Ambassador is in a really bad spot. This front area is just so vulnerable. At any point, one of these people could bug, and it would be really hard to see the tell. You'd think the front area wouldn't be so vulnerable, or wouldn't be so invisible, but it really is. Anybody can just return the briefcase right there and bug as they walk around. It's practically invisible. And right now, I think, is when he notices the swap. He says, I don't need to watch the Ambassador anymore. He notices the swap. Right here, he notices the swap because he's going to lowlight this character. And that's where he does a really good job. He says, hey, I can lowlight everybody who's not highlit. And then I just need to watch 3 or 4 people. Who hasn't been to that statue? He's highlighted everybody who's touched the statue up to now. He doesn't remember which one of these has touched that statue, but it doesn't matter because the BB split. It's going to be really obvious. Kind of weird that Kaylee would split to the correct shelf instead of the wrong shelf. I would think that if you're going to do that, you might as well just take the red book over the blue shelf. But oh, wait, no, I'm wrong. That is a blue book. I am not doing so well. It's a good thing I'm not playing today. Yeah, in that previous game, Veery would not have been finished yet. It's pretty funny. Alright, so, let's see. krazycaley is the sniper. Turnout is Bondo. So let's see what happens. Amba's in a pretty decent position. Not really easy to rush, so for sniper it's good. Toby started off in a great position as well. Very, very visible tray. The tray's usually visible in this map as it is, but we are going to see a bug kind of soon. And Bondo, Turnout, started with a, oh, yeah, that bug was pretty telegraphed, I felt, so kind of Should have been able to see that, I think. We'll have to look back at what he was looking at. I don't think it was a good move for Turnout to start off visiting a statue so soon. Being very, very active, though. Nice little bump and walk around there. I like that. And, yeah, I think we've kind of seen the rhythm of how these players are going to play against each other. So here, there's not much for me to say except, oh, they're marking books and they're zooming in on the back of the map all day, which I really don't like. When I play this map, I play zoomed out. Adds 45 seconds to the clock, and a mismarked book is going to lose him the game. So where did he mark that book? That's a purple dress right here. And let's see, what does she do? I don't remember. Oh, she picks up a book early. Okay, so she picks up her book here. She leaves with it. Does walk around really oddly after she does. So maybe that's why Kaylee says, oh, I should mark this book. I don't know if he's even watching for that or not. I think he was just watching Purloin and the Ambassador. But he definitely says, hey, I should mark this book. And I'm not exactly sure if he marks it blue by accident, because you can't see it right now when he's marking it. It's really difficult to see it. Or if he really thought she came from the blue bookshelf, because she is on that side of the room. I'm not sure. It was definitely a hasty shot anyway. I mean, she hasn't visited a statue. There's no indication that Purloin or swap has happened. And as far as I can tell, she was never near enough to the Ambassador to bug. So there's no reason to believe she's finished specifically. Very, very hasty shot, and I don't think I would have. I don't think I can agree with that shot, even if you're fairly certain that she has done that. The bug, not a very good bug. Here, I do like how he plays it, and this is how I like to do it. I'm going to give myself away here. The Ambassador is very. What's a good way to say this? In fact, I'll go to practice and talk about this really fast. So practice by known 7. Doesn't matter. Okay, so the girl who got shot. The ideal locations to bug are well, you're going to want to bug with your arm parallel to the laser, like this, so that you can't see the arm going out. Let me see if I can actually demonstrate here. So that's a lot harder to see than this. Oops. That's much more visible. So you don't want to bug while walking this way. If the Ambassador hits up a statue, you're going to want to bug past the Ambassador. Like, let's say the Amb is at that statue. You're going to want to bug like this. Like that direction. So what you do is you say, oh, the Ambassador's at a statue. And you're over here, and you say, the Ambassador's at a statue. Perfect. You go over to this spot right here, and then you leave, and you bug, and you do the straight walk through. It's really subtle. And that's what Turnout's going to do in this replay, which is a really nice move. Oops. It's a really nice move, but it is very telegraphed, especially if you know that the Ambassador is really exposed at that middle statue area. Where is it? When does the Ambassador? I could just go back there. All right, so the Ambassador's there. Now watch Bondo. He's already got his highlight. He's at the statue, and he says, "Hey, you know what? It would be pretty sweet for me to get this spot right here." And he does it. It's not a perfect bug. It's very, very visible. It is a nice bug. It's really nice positioning. But you have to be kind of curious about somebody who leaves the area really quickly. So he had just arrived there, right? So he's been there 3:11. He leaves at 3:09. He leaves after 2 seconds. AI usually stands still for longer than 2 seconds. He does this really kind of bumpy and weird path. He should be a very, very high suspect. That bug should have been more visible than it was to Kaylee. He just wasn't looking at it. Where was Kaylee looking? So right here, he's zoomed in right on the Ambassador. There's no way he's watching Toby's tray. I can't imagine he's looking anywhere but there. But he does miss it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Not Alright, let's see. Turnout8 is the sniper. krazycaley is green dress, white dots. I just call her dots. And he's going to start off with a watch check. I love it. And a double time ad. Get out of there. Don't do a triple. Alright, Kaylee's got a lot of time on the clock. And he got off free. Turnout's marking his books. Now, what did he take out this game? He took out Purloin. So he took out Purloin, again taking out a hardtail. He left microfilm in. Now, when Kaylee said, I don't think I can do microfilm, he really meant it on Ballroom. I don't think he was applying it to all the other maps like Panopticon and Veranda, where, and especially Gallery, where it's a lot easier mission. He was saying that particularly on Ballroom, the mission was locked down too tight, which I agree. Turnout locks it down tight as hell. But, you know, well, we've already discussed that. So here, grabs his first flirt. Both players spending way too much time zoomed in. They're missing everything else in the game. Especially, there's no reason to be zoomed in like this when the only mission you have to watch for is the ambassador. I mean, I guess he really wants to catch these book transfers, and maybe that's the main reason he's zoomed in. It'd be kind of interesting because microfilm is so much more viable on here. The spy is so much more likely to do it, so it's a much more rewarding mission to camp. Finally zooming out a little. Kaylee's doing Twitch flirts back there. Can't see him. I'm looking for him. You can't see him. He's just in a great spot. So, oh, you can see that. You can see those Twitch flirts if you're looking for him. So he finished his seduction. Nice. And Bondo's gonna get shot here. And I have no idea why, but finally Kaylee picks up his first game, or this is his third game in the set. It's his first game in a long time. And where did Bondo get highlighted? So let's use this. Been neglecting this. Not for a while, right? Mark suspicious here. Alright, I think maybe for possible bug, oh, he makes a big loop around. Okay, so let's see what happens. Bondo, not a suspect yet. He's going to come in from our peripheral vision like right now. Going to zip by the ambassador, although he can't really bug, and you can clearly tell that. Just makes a U-turn for no good reason. Maybe he thought he bugged. I mean, it doesn't look like a bug, so maybe the 180 really confused him. He enters, he talks almost immediately. Maybe Turnout's just feeling overly confident. In fact, I'm sure that's part of it. And why does he, where is he headed? Bondo comes over here. I don't want to look at this camera. There we go, free cam. Just makes a U-turn. Why does he do this? No clue. He just makes a U-turn. I mean, there's nobody heading to his spot over here, so that was really weird. Yeah, not sure. But I think he got shot because he was probably looking like he was bugging. So, civilian shot. Kaylee picks up his first game in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So he's played 14 games and he's won 3 of them. Now, as I said, I don't want to just bash on Kaylee this set. The second half of the set, which we're not getting into, Kaylee, stages a pretty tremendous comeback. He wins the majority of the games from then on, and despite, coming in from a huge deficit, he closes it out, losing only, I think with a loss of around 6 games or so, maybe less. Considering he was, at one point 11 games behind, or so, 10 or 11 games behind, he closes out the set with like a 46% win rate in there, so he did a really good job in the second half of the set. He does a good job in the first half. He makes a lot of really good plays. I just think he's not playing against his opponent as efficiently as he should be. Like, he should be reading his opponent and making decisions more based on what turnout's going to do, rather than just playing a standard set. It's almost like he's playing the game on one-player mode a lot of the time, when what he should be doing is thinking about his opponent more. So, anyway, Kaylee is the sniper, turnout8 is white danger, right over there. Amba's going to be in a bad spot.